Hey guys, what's happening? This is Kaale, Cloud Wanderer. And yeah, that was the intro of my guy here, Brandon Clark. He was here before and we was chopping it up, so I just wanted to do like a follow up, like what he been up to. And yeah, man, thank you for hopping on, man, on this Sunday.
Appreciate you, Kaale, for having me on again. And I like that little reel and with the music and everything. I appreciate the intro.
Yeah, man, yeah, your artwork is dope, man. Yeah, like it's I think when we last talked, you was working on a comic.
Yes, I was. I'm still working on the story, but I found that I was trying too hard to force the comic. I have several pages of it made. I can even share them, but uh, there's no like dialogue really, or not too much dialogue with them. But they were all about like I have two major arcs in this epic story I'm trying to create. One features like this father character, and it takes place in a far different timeline than, and that was the comic that I was working on. Um, and then the other one is features his son, and I don't know if you can see over my shoulder this.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah, that's the son, and then that's actually the villain, who both the father and the son take on at
Yeah,
different times. The father kind of starts this battle, this epic battle against this demon king, but then his son gets born like 1,000 years later, and is going to be the one that kills the actual demon king.
oh
So,
wow, okay. I think I seen that on your Instagram.
hmm yep.
Yeah. Wow. What how you came up with that story?
It's been a long time developing, man. So I first actually came up with the guy Besa, the blue guy, the lizard man. I have stickers of them because I sometimes give them away to people or sell them as promo. So that's
Yeah.
Besa.
Okay.
Besa, little fox friend Nuko.
Yeah.
Um, in Japan, I was in Japan and people love this sticker, especially because of Nuko, the little fox guy. They like cute
Yeah.
stuff. But I created Besa like when I was 12 years old, watching a lot of Dragon Ball Z and stuff,
Mm.
and I just had him as this cool reptile-like character with loosely with like Ninja Turtle type of aesthetics and Mortal Kombat type of inspiration as well. Then when I was a few years later, I was kind of getting bored with what I was doing with Basa's story. I also have his older brother. Matter of fact, I can show that.
Yeah.
His older brother is a much more dangerous, villainous character than. Oh, wrong portfolio.
Yeah.
Got too much art. Too much art. Um, what's it called? This is. Wait, let's see. That's his older brother,
Okay.
Laser.
Wow, you did
So I
that?
created, yeah.
Wow.
So I created these two characters early on, and then when I couldn't figure out a direction to go with their story, I
Yeah.
was like, let me make up something about their father, like something about their father being this legendary hero that they don't know anything about, and then they have to kind of rediscover that. It's very similar to like Luke Skywalker discovering that Darth Vader or Anakin was a great hero in the past. I wanted to go something similar with that, but I don't want Blue Sage to become evil. So anyway, I created a story about their father character, um, and him being the one that initially was the basically the only one willing to rise up and fight against the powers of the Demon Clan. That's the order that Cyrock there is the leader of, And over time, I jumped back between both of those stories, as well as doing my Muscle Woman art. But those are like the core emotional stories that I'm really like really tied into, and they're what I really want to make a movie or feature film or even a comic on. I always have a block every time I get further into their story. I hit a block, get discontent with it for a while, or it becomes a struggle to continue to progress the story. So then I have to take a long break. And when I return from the break, I end up getting a new idea for a direction to take the story. So sometimes I end up starting over altogether, or I end up just jumping around. So it's never been fully completed. I have an outline completed, but I don't have the
Yeah.
actual print.
What makes you stop? So at times, like let's take a break, and you be stressed out, or just things in your mind, or
Yeah, I think there's some kind of emotional block that's occurring constantly because I've been
yeah,
there. I've been counseling stuff like that. And I've taken courses. Um, every time I get to usually past the beginning part of whatever new phase I'm working on with this story, uh, even if I'm being super disciplined, making myself work on it every day, when I hit that block part, I have huge levels of anxiety and depression that they don't just bother me while I'm working on the project. They literally follow me throughout the entire everyday aspect of my life while I'm working on the project. And it gets to such a point that it stifles me. It keeps me from being productive in, say, work and other things. And
yeah,
it's honestly so draining and bad that it's like, okay, man, you have to take a break. This isn't good for your health to keep trying to force yourself to try to complete this project when apparently, it's just not ready to be finished yet. It's one of the
right.
things I'm having to teach myself is not to force the finished product out.
Yeah, yeah. I can understand that. You don't want to force it, and then it don't be the way you how you want it to be. Like, let's say if you did, like, you completed it. Like, what would be like the next step?
The next step after I completed it, because I go around setting up at fairs and stuff
Yeah,
like that, and occasionally I go to fitness event conventions, I would actually make little printed copies or even have a digital QR for people to go scan to. Um, we'll see if if I feel like just offering it for free as a promo, or if I'm going to like charge people small fee for each one. But I haven't thought too much about how to commercialize it. But I would go to all of those events and stuff because people see these characters. I have them on
yeah,
my banner. So
right.
earlier today when I was drawing at the market, I like this is what feeds my soul sometimes is when like little kids see Besa and they're like, "Oh, he's my favorite," because there's several characters on the banner. Um, and or they'll flip through my portfolio and they see some of the concept sketches I have of him or the times when he's talking to other characters and they want to get to know more about him. So when I'm drawing at markets and public places, um, whenever I have those interactions, I could easily pull out the book or the QR code and be like, "Hey, if you want to read more on the story, here he is."
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I hope you complete it, man, because it's a good story. Yeah, like then what was I about to ask you? I was about to say something and just kind of click. Well, maybe we could go. Oh yeah, I wanted to ask you like you go like to I don't know if I asked you on the first interview, but did you go to like comic book conventions or would plan to go to like a New York Comic Con or something like that or somewhere where you at?
Actually, I did draw last year at the New York Comic Con, and it was a great experience. I was drawing
Okay.
caricatures there. Yeah, I was drawing caricatures. So I was drawing just people's faces. I was with a group of other caricature artists,
Yeah.
but people did love the style I was bringing to the table.
Right.
And occasionally, I did have conversations because it's a bunch of nerds there. They started asking,
Yeah.
what got me into it, and then yeah. I went, yeah. So that very first image that you see, that's more the style of drawings I was doing at the Comic Con. Um, Now that was at this image came from the LA Fit Expo, but
Okay.
that's basically the style that I was doing when I was there. Um,
Yeah. Yeah. It's cool, man. Now this is Besa.
yes, sir.
Okay. Okay.
Mesa the
So
Lizard Man, the rogue lizard of Lagoon.
like what's his powers though? Like
He has a lot. He actually, as he develops, he's growing into his powers. Well, that was one of the things I was going to touch on next, and I'm so glad you asked. I decided to make him a culmination of all cool reptile powers that I like, or at least
mm,
main one, and I'll develop more later. So, for instance, he has Velociraptor speed, just super fast running ability.
mm,
Um, he also, as he grabs what's called a hollow bone, which is basically a dinosaur bone, and in the world they call them prehistoric titans. When he
okay.
grabs onto one of them, it's actually a weapon that his father wielded, very similar to a lightsaber, except instead of like a straight light blade coming out, instead you get
Yeah.
these big hooked claws that come out, and one that he's gonna grab. May have him grab one that, of course, is like a raptor claw. Actually, has little sketches of these drawings too.
Mm,
Um, but he also there's some that are like pteranodon wings. So it's not just dinosaur powers that he starts to tap into, but
yeah.
also dragon powers, also serpent, cobra venom, stuff like that. It's things that he's gonna unlock later on. I don't know if you can see any of this,
Yeah, a
but
little bit. A little. Yeah, I see it. A little something.
these are
Yeah.
concepts of how uh, the blades start to appear and come out of his hands, wrists. Um,
Mm,
so basically, with him, I just looked at how the world hates reptiles, and that's the reference image. What's her name? Bella Rackling. She's an amazing artist. So
okay.
I used that drawing that she did of Nightcrawler, and just put basically Besa in place of Nightcrawler. But I
Is
used
she a
it as
comic book artist or?
she does fan art for all comics.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, it's cool. The way she did that, lace that up. That's cool.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So like, well, how was your so like how long did you stay in New York Comic Con?
It was just 3 days long, or four? Was it
3 days.
4 days? 4 days. 4 days.
Yeah, yeah. I was there like 12 years ago. Like not I don't even think it's 12 years now. Like, but it was like yeah, just about like over 10 years. I seen a classmate of mine in a junior high school classmate of mine and stuff, and he been doing comics like since the 2000s. You
Okay.
know, yeah, he done Batgirl and he done Spider Man. He worked with DC and Marvel. Then he went to Japan. He stayed there for like seven years, and then he got married, and then he came back to the States. And then he was working with the Black Eyed Peas, and
Hmm.
I think he be like in and out. I think he goes back and forth to LA and then come over here. I haven't seen him like maybe like 2 years now. So yeah,
That's
yeah,
dope.
yeah. Yeah. So like who's this is the Demon Clan leader, Namarok?
Cyrock. Cyrock
Cyrock.
is
Okay, Cyrock. Okay.
So Cyrock is the king of the Demon Clan, and so the world called Nimarok. It's like a play on Nightmare Land and Ragnarok.
Mm,
He's going to lead basically the armies of, you could say, Ragnarok, or the demon side of things, against the gods. There's this chief god that I've got called Zord, who is the Lord of Light.
yeah.
Um, but he's very power hungry, narcissistic god. And
Mm,
Cyrock is actually going to rise up and take him out. And Blue Sage, this is Basil's father now, is going to try to fight and defeat Cyrock. he's unable to defeat him. So he plants a lot of the powers and skills and a lot of these hidden dragon things that he's learned on his adventures into his seed or his egg, and that's what's gonna grow to become Besa later on.
Okay.
Besa and Besa later on.
Yeah, I see this comic, man. Yeah.
Thanks.
Like when you working on like the panels that you was working on, like how long did it take you to just do it?
Let me see. Can I share my screen?
Okay, hold on, let me see. I gotta yeah.
Let me. Oops. I don't see a place where I can share the screen. I'm not that familiar with StreamYard.
Oh, okay. I don't know if you could do it, but wait, we got a comment. Oh, all the race George. Hey, what's up, George? Just swinging by, fellas.
What's up, George? I know you
Yeah.
were wanting him to. You were thinking about having him come on. If he wants to hop on, I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah. So, George, if you want to hop on, I could send a link. That's up to you, brother. You want to hop on? You hop on. Cause George, he got he's into comics, so his stuff is Batman.
Oh, Batman is my favorite DC character. Spider-Man is my favorite Marvel character. Spider-Man, I like a little more than Batman. He edges out.
Yeah. What you was gonna show me?
Well, let me see if I have it actually on my phone. I can probably just show you some of the.
Okay.
Because I made some like video reels. That's another thing too. I want to sometimes make music videos out of the stuff that I've created.
Yeah. I'm on my computer, so I don't know. Like if you send it to me. Okay.
I'm just showing it on my phone.
Wait a second. Yeah. You know, matter of fact, check it out. It's on your on. It's on your whatchamacallit. Hold
my
on.
Instagram.
Yeah. Let me show that. Yeah, I also did a video with it, so this is it right here. Yeah, this was cool. Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. And how long did it take you to do that?
Each panel took. It didn't take extremely long, but each panel took like 2 to 3 hours.
Yeah.
So the whole page right there is about 9 hours of work, 6 to 9 hours of work.
Okay. Well, you did like layouts and all that stuff, and just put it on the panel.
No, on that one, I was actually looking at this Darth Vader comic, so I just used the poses of the Darth Vader comic. That's how I learn best. Is if I see other people's poses, I just put my characters in the pose. And then I don't sit there and copy the story or anything. That's also too why I don't have much dialogue on there, because I was figuring out my story or what part of the story to put it in. But for instance, like tonight, like after I get off of this, I'm gonna actually go back and I've watched Mad Max Fury Road like 15 times because I think it's gonna tie in heavily with the story that I'm trying to create. So one of the things I do is I stop the frames at certain points of the movie. And then I redraw some of the scenes, but I put my own characters, and then I throw my own setting in there as a way to learn how to do sequential art.
You know, I see, like I remember when I was in New York Comic Con, there was this dude, and he did like these Star Trek comics, and I was asking him, yo, how you like. And the way he did it was really good. Like it was kind of realistic. Like, and I'm like, how you did all that? Like to just put that painted, and then he said he'll stop like the video, and then just draw it and stuff like that. And you know, he was painting it like it was like something. I don't want to exaggerate Renaissance, but it was good. It was realistic. So yeah,
I mean, artists use what has been in the past. We take what we've seen in the past and then reimagine it, to create, new things that other people don't, or haven't considered yet. You could say.
Yeah. So this one this was based on this girl right here, Kiki, I
Kiki
forgot her.
Vice.
Kiki
Kiki
Rice.
Vice. Kiki
Kiki
Vice.
Vice. Yeah, Kiki Vice. Have you met her?
Nah, she's in Australia, but I
Oh,
followed
okay.
her for years, and then I caught her one time on her. I caught her one
Alive?
time on her live, and then I messaged
Yeah.
her and she responded. Um, it was that one came out great, man. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, that's dope. That's dope. Let's check out Kiki a little bit on her Instagram and stuff. Yeah, she got. Yeah, I see Kiki. Yeah, Yeah, her thighs is incredible. Her legs, like she's wellness.
I don't know if she competes on stage. She's more like
Oh,
powerlifting
uh,
stuff. Like, and honestly, I don't want her
yeah,
to compete on stage. Like, man, like I'm so tired of. The truth is, when these girls when they start to like shred up for dieting and competing and all that, like it takes a lot of their
right,
beauty away, and they start to lose some of that. Like you see how she has some natural softness in her muscles.
right.
Whenever
Yeah,
they start to shred up too much, they lose that. And I'm like, bro, she looks better. She looks amazing already in these pictures.
yeah. I think you're the first person that I hear that from, but it's
That's because
truth.
everybody. But the truth is, just because everybody in that like female muscle and bodybuilding, these guys like the ones that like it. It's like they go to the extreme. It's like they want to see, let's see her
Yeah,
harder, and I get it too, because sometimes I want the girls to be bigger, but I don't
right,
want them to be bigger for at the sake of losing their femininity.
right.
Like she's a huge woman. She's like 5'9", and I know for a fact in the off season she's over 200 pounds. She may be heavier than me,
Mm,
just to be honest, because her legs are so
mm.
big.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. I've been seeing her too. I'm like, wow, and she has this. She's a very attractive lady in the face. So
exactly.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Sorry, I mean, that it'd be cool. Like if you kind of met her and stuff,
I think it'd be
and
cool too, but I mean, I think it'd be cool
she
too, but
just
what are you
yeah,
about to say?
she's an IFBB. No, I thought you was about to say something, but she's a IFBB athlete, bodybuilder, cosplay. She's a trainer and stuff. But let's go back to your stuff. I just wanted to show the viewers, who she was, and this was who's this?
That's Tanya Luna. She's a women's
Hello?
pro football
Oh,
player.
oh, time.
Can you hear me?
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah, I hear you. Yeah, yeah. I think I interviewed a lady that was a football player, and then she done like natural bodybuilding. Yeah, so yeah.
Yeah, they were
You don't
very
see too
supportive.
many huh?
I said they were very supportive. The women's football team. I'm gonna be coming back and drawing
Yeah.
at their game again in a couple weeks. Um,
Oh,
very, very supportive. Much more down to earth than what you get from women in the fitness industry.
yeah, yeah. Like, do you watch their games, the football games?
Oh, I just what's it called? Tanya Tanya met me at the Sunset Market at one of the markets I draw at.
Yeah,
She was with one of her other friends. Both of those women are actually bigger than me too. They're not taller than me, but size wise, weight wise, they're actually much heavier than I am.
yeah.
So
It's
I was like, I'm drawing these big. I have these big buff women on my poster. I'm like, I might as well draw you all. So I did, and then she was like, "Hey, you should come," and that's Tanya right there. She's like, "You
okay.
should come draw at one of our games," and I was like, "Sure, I can do that."
Yeah, yeah. I just wanted to see the football players, chicks and stuff. Yeah, you drew a lot of women. Yeah, Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, I noticed that you. Yeah, you was on the You said you had to say a lot on this podcast here. Yeah, I'm sorry I didn't make it. I didn't stay because I had to go see it was pertaining to my father, so I couldn't really stick around too much. Yeah,
No problem.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I seen this chick earlier, and she was squatting this dude. Like she picked him up and she was squatting him. Like she did like maybe like 5 squats of picking
Yeah,
this dude
Jimmy.
up, man.
Yeah, she's
Yeah,
super
she's
strong.
kind of strong. Yeah,
Nah,
I want to see
she's
if I,
really strong.
I see.
She ain't kind of strong.
Yeah,
She's
yeah,
really she
yeah. I didn't know she was that strong like that because I see the pictures, but it's obvious strong woman. So let me see if I see it. I don't know, but it was like wow, that was kind of impressive. I had it on my phone, but yeah, no, I just see the strong women thing. So, but anyway, yeah. So have you went to did you see the Triple O?
no, no. I
Oh,
was doing a
okay.
bunch of drawing and stuff at a market. My weekends is mostly like it's drawing people to make a living, man. So like earlier today, I was at a market drawing. Yesterday, I was at a market. That's also why I missed some of the Marilyn Yee interview.
Yeah,
Um, you know, uh, that's what I be doing.
yeah,
But
nah,
I'm also I'll be honest with you, I don't care to watch bodybuilding shows like that. They're boring to me, just to be honest.
yeah,
Um, I've seen several of them in person, and I think that's one of the reasons why I eventually got bored at them. Yeah, the women are attractive and all that, but once you see the same people doing the same poses over and over and over again, it's like,
yeah,
God dang, this is boring. So, yeah,
yeah.
bro, like,
I've just started. I just started going to these bodybuilding shows. I mean, like the last one I went to, it was cool. Yeah, the double down. It was a natural, and yeah, I met Michelle Moon. I don't know if you familiar with her. I took like a picture. She's like women's physique. Yeah, so yeah, yes,
it's much better in person. It's much better in person, but still, I mean, it's better too if you have someone to go with. Like the last time I went to
yeah,
a bodybuilding show was actually it was with Nikki, so I was sitting there chatting with her and then some of her friends, and that made the time go by much faster. And then me, I'm always got my drawings with me, so I would doodle. I'd go doodle sometimes with people on stage, or people in the crowd, because you will see random muscle people there. And honestly, sometimes at the bodybuilding shows, you might see more attractive muscle women in the crowd
yeah,
than
yeah,
sometimes
yeah,
more on
yeah,
stage.
yeah. I seen
Those
that.
there's a lot of hidden jewels in there,
Yeah,
man.
yeah. There's a lot of attractive women, and they're not on stage. I was like, I'm just looking. I didn't say anything, but I'm just looking. I remember there was this one chick, like she was coming towards me because I was at the end and I was standing because the seats was filled, and I had my camera, and for some reason. I almost kind of wanted to record her, but I was like, nah, chill. I was like, because she looked it
You should ask,
nice.
you should ask. Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know. I was like, I wasn't going to do it anyway. But I just was like, I was watching the men at the time. So yeah,
I'm gonna say this too, man. When you're at the shows, and that's why I say, like, for you, I encourage you to still, go to them whenever you can, because it can be fun. It brings a little excitement into your life. It's like the first time you get to not first time, but it's one of the few times you get to see a lot of those types of women in one gathering. So I
yeah,
get the excitement of it. But
yeah,
whenever I think too, the people who, if you're gonna talk to people, it's a lot harder to talk to the actual competitors and the ones who are shredded and all that, because they're
right,
so dieted down, depleted, and stressed out for the show. It's actually the random muscle women in the crowd who are going to be a little bit more approachable, depending on how what you're trying to
Yeah.
talk to them about, you know,
I don't
because
know,
they're
like some. Oh, not go ahead.
now I'm just saying they're not usually they're in their off season. The ones who are attending the show,
Yeah,
they're not prep. So a lot of them have a lot more energy, or they just a lot more down to earth, less on guard, uh, unless you're being like a creep.
yeah, right. I approached what's her name? This chick. I forgot her name already, but she's a women's physique. She's a woman. She's in women's physique. I forgot her name. George know who I'm talking about, but yeah, I approached her one time, and she was kind of like, do I know you? And so, because I interviewed her, but I don't know, but I had to say, I interviewed you. You know, it's not like
Mm.
she could have just said, "Hi, how you doing?" Or not Michelle. I forgot that lady's name. Jessica. It'll come to me, but yeah, but the fact that I had to just explain, and she could have just said, "How you doing?" and but when we was talking, it was all right. It wasn't like any spark or nothing like that. I just kept it moving and stuff. But then like there was times where like I would see like the women they were with like their boyfriends or whoever, and so that's why I didn't really do too much approaching. So, but it was a different world. My first experience there, because like everybody looked at Jack. Like I didn't really. If I did see like if there were average people, and I did, when I recorded it, but I didn't really see too many average looking people. I just seen like bodybuilders or people that work out and stuff like that. Yeah, but
Yeah, it's not a sport that attracts the average everyday person. Neither
no, it
neither man,
doesn't.
and it's because just be truth be told, because the average everyday person it would get bored of seeing that same thing over and over and over again. Yes, it's cool to
Yeah,
see the initial freakishly huge or muscular person, but it's not like say watching a sport where they're watching like a
right,
football game where you have like things that are ebbing and flowing. You got
right.
lots of action. There's none of that in a bodybuilding show. Mostly because I mean, there's a few competitors. I mean, like a small. We're talking about less. I can count them on one hand who have like literally made their show like their performance like a real performance. Like I've seen one really buff girl named Chris Morrell in the early 2000s. Like she
Yeah,
busted
I
out
know
like
who you
doing
mean.
a hip hop. She did a bunch of hip hop dances and stuff, and she had like great muscular legs and stuff. And she looked and she could move, so it was cool. It was like, damn, that is dope. But you don't see that at bodybuilding shows. I think if you
Nah,
did see more of that, then
I think in the
bodybuilding would have.
past, in the past, like they did do some routines like there
The
was this
fitness.
chick. Her name was Yolanda Hughes. She was a bodybuilder, and she used to do like gymnastic techniques and all that stuff. And Corey Everson, she would dance, and like I remember this video where she's dancing to Grease, the one of the Grease songs and stuff. This was like in '87. Yeah, I mean, it ain't. I would say like the shows, back then it wasn't like how it is now. I mean, if it is, it's separate, because they got the fitness, the division where they do the flips and all that type of stuff. Yeah, so yeah.
Yeah. It's I'll say it is.
Let me read this chat. A lot of females who do powerlifting often transition out of the sport, either bodybuilding or CrossFit. Yeah.
I
And he
mean, CrossFit
says,
has a higher injury rate than
yeah.
powerlifting, actually.
Yeah, I know CrossFit is intense itself too, you know. So
Some of them
and
women are
then
jacked, man.
yeah, they huge. They're very huge. You know any
Hmm.
CrossFit people that you like watching?
I don't watch CrossFit because that's not the fun sport for me to watch. But I have it. Look, for me, when it comes to these muscle stuff, I'm
Yeah,
mainly going there to draw and to attract more patrons or people to get interested in my artwork, and to, of course, watch some attractive women. You know, that's just to be honest. But I don't go out of my way to watch the shows and events. I have been to a CrossFit event and I did get some sales there. I was actually in the stands and they found out about me because several people in the crowd started to tell like some of the competitors and all that. And then some of them started to hire me, and even the official, one of the ladies who was a part of the CrossFit games, she started like getting me like the hookup on seats and stuff. So uh, there's cool stuff like that. But in
yeah,
terms of like going out on my way to go see CrossFit stuff, no. But when I saw the women, I was like, dang, man, y'all, some of y'all are bigger than female bodybuilders, and you're way
yeah,
more athletic, way more
yeah,
athletic. So it's kind of cool to see that.
yeah. Because they be doing them handstands. Then they do them wide pull ups and all that type of stuff. And yeah, it's a lot they be doing. Then they be picking up them sandbags and all that type of stuff. It's almost like strong women. Like
Yeah.
yeah, it's a level of
Strongman and
that.
CrossFit is pretty close to each other. Just CrossFit is more on the endurance side. I think
Yeah,
both CrossFit and strongman, strongwoman is more exciting to watch for the average person
yeah,
than say powerlifting, because powerlifting also can get repetitive. It's like this three same movements over and over.
yeah,
Um, I already spoke what I said about bodybuilding. So I'm
yeah,
what I'm kind of getting at too is with my muscle woman art, I'm transitioning. I don't just focus on bodybuilders. Matter of fact, I hardly ever focus on female bodybuilders anymore. Occasionally,
yeah,
there's a super beautiful one that pops and catches my eye, and then I'm like, maybe she'll help tag or tag me in her story. But honestly, I'd love it for them to tag me in their post too. And I get kind of salty, not to lie, I get kind of salty when, like, for instance, Kiki, she posted it on her story and stuff. I invited her to be a collaboration on the post, but she didn't accept it. And
mm,
I mentioned to her, I was like, hey, if you want to share it on your post, it'd be great. So stuff like that's kind of like uh, discouraging. It's like you realize there's not a lot of appreciation for the work. They're gonna type in,
yeah,
they're gonna give you, oh, thank you, this is such an awesome piece, blah blah blah. But
yeah,
when it comes down to it, if you were to be like, hey, can you just go a little bit extra in showing support for the artist that put this out there, they don't do it.
yeah,
And this isn't just female bodybuilders. It's a lot of female bodybuilders, but it's a lot of just these muscle girls that have big followings on social media. In a way, they kind of
yeah,
view themselves, I think, as celebrities, or they're getting so many gifts from guys already that
yeah,
it just kind of it numbs their appreciation
yeah,
for what you
yeah. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I remember when I first like started going into social media, I would draw, female bodybuilders and stuff, and then post it on my Facebook and stuff like that. And some of them they would appreciate it, but it wasn't like anything further than that. It's not like they would just kind of I didn't and think long story short I didn't sense that supportness even back then. So but I don't know, I think it could sometimes, like when I didn't have anything to do, I would just draw muscle women. That would, like, I haven't been drawing in a while, but like but like but if something like just comes to me, I just find something like pictures or something like that, and I would just draw, like, so
Bro, they're
yeah,
stimulating. They're stimulating. Like
yeah,
when I draw a muscle woman, a lot of times nowadays I use more of my imagination to come up with my muscle woman.
yeah,
Occasionally, like you'll see ones like at the top here. That's her name is Christina Perrick. She's she's in Florida, and I think she's powerlift, or she's actually wellness, but she has a very thick muscular physique, which I think is
yeah,
amazing. So occasionally I'll draw one like that from reference, but other times I'll draw girls like that, but out of my own imagination. Like if I can share, I'm gonna try to see if I can keep it. PG because I know.
YouTube is.
Well, let me show you. So like I have like little cartoony ones like this
Yeah.
girl.
Yeah, this is
This is
cool.
all
That's
from
yeah, that's
yeah.
cool.
She's from imagination. It's just imagination.
Yeah.
Um, Let me see. I got some. I did some. I was potentially trying to create a rival character for Besa, like so.
Mm.
This
Yeah.
little like anthropomorphic boxing squirrel or even kangaroo or kangaroo mouse type character. Um, so those
Mm.
are um, those are sometimes a lot of the times the girls that I'll draw whenever I'm like uh, just you know here's one this is a funny one that you may like. I'm creating this I'm now expanding to where I'm trying to do a little funny comics. So I did like this little funny boxer one.
Yeah.
I'm so bad angling this thingy.
Yeah, I see it. It's cool. It's cool. How long did it take you to do that?
This one took like less than an hour. I was rushing. I was
Yeah, you
drunk.
rushing
I was
doing that? Like, wow.
yeah. I was drunk and I was in effort mode. I was like, man, I don't care to. I just want to get like something out there. So I just
But
did
you
that
inked
real
that
quick.
too. I noticed you inked it. Like
Yeah,
George
I
like
inked
it.
it.
He like it.
Thank you. That I mean, I'm thinking about doing more like a little funny comic, like where it's just one or two panels or three panels of like a buff girl, beating up, but kind of like smothering or making a little cute love to the small male opponent that she's kind of beating up on.
Mm.
And but here's the thing: if I'm sober, then I'm gonna be super analytical, and it'll take me way longer to do it, and usually it's gonna be way better because I'm putting much more mental effort into it. But whenever I'm like tipsy, like when I did that one, I was able to just hit that effort mode and be like, you know what? I don't care if it looks good. I'm gonna just do it, and then now when it's
Yeah.
done, I look at it. I'm like, oh, this came out cool, you know?
Yeah. That's cool. Let me read this chat. George he said it's an art to have patience and looking at the art of how the bodies are developed. And when I was at my first show, I got to talk with some ladies, a couple I did interviews. Yeah. And then he says, yeah, it can be a problem when you don't feel appreciated. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes I
Us
don't pay them.
artists are sensitive, man. Us artists are sensitive, man. I know that's a flaw of mine, and it's a flaw of just but it doesn't stop the feeling. Like I can tell myself that it's not right to feel this way. You can't, it can come across as being entitled whenever you put hard work into something and you feel other people don't appreciate it. But at the end of the day, it's also too. It's like, bro, like I got grown up. I got scrutinized. Like people don't realize throughout most of my life, I hid all my muscle woman drawings for fear that I would be called gay. My parents didn't like the stuff when they first saw it.
Yeah.
Now they see it and they're okay with it because they're like, he makes money from this stuff or it helps
Yeah.
draw attention to his brand. But I got scrutinized a lot. So there's a lot of emotional pain. And then it's like I hid it forever. And then I threw myself out there eventually and
It's a
started
smack
to
in the
show it.
face.
Yeah, so it's a huge smack in the face. And
Yeah.
you explain it to there's a few women I've explained it to, like who really understand it. And I'll go ahead and throw one name out there, Alina Popa. Like she heard my story. Me and Alina are really cool. So
Yeah,
um,
you true. Yeah, I could show the drawing of her.
drawn her, I've drawn her several
Yeah,
times.
yeah, she looked nice. I mean, Elena kind of stand out for me because I seen her in certain things, some videos, some nice, some. She did a session video, man. It ain't like a big deal, but that's why how she stood out for me. So yeah, just seeing her,
Yeah, I
it's
was
just stand out. Yeah,
That was from her back when she was competing and stuff. But yeah,
Yeah,
I talked to her and shared with her like the artist struggle, and she you could tell like she really empathized and she feels sorry. It felt good to be like seen or appreciated from someone who's a part of that world, and then she's
yeah,
also like it is, and she's one of the main ones that knows too that a lot of these women are very selfish, egotistical. So that's also, after I really had some cool conversations and stuff with her, I actually
right.
started to become more picky on the women I choose to draw from the bodybuilding world. So it's like I got seen from one person from that world, and there's a few
Yeah,
other I've been seen from too. But then it caused me to lose like just because I see a muscle woman. Now I'm like, oh, she's amazing, blah 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 blah. Like matter of fact, earlier today at the market I was drawing at, it was a former female bodybuilder who came up there. Her name is Maya, and we just had a gentle conversation. But I wasn't trying to hit on her or anything like that because it's cool she has muscles, but I'm not attracted to her, and she just thought the
yeah,
art was cool. So it's kind of like good to just see them
yeah,
as a normal person too, versus viewing them
yeah,
as this incredible goddess. Because when you get to meet
yeah.
most of their personalities, you realize these are not goddesses; these are the
They just
opposite.
women. That's it. I mean, yeah, I noticed
Well, they're not just women, bro. They go
no,
ahead.
I
I'm
was
sorry.
I was about to say like I noticed like when I do like videos and stuff like I put things together and I see things in the comments. Like I see these a lot of the guys they say the same thing like they're beautiful and it ain't too nothing wrong with it, but it's like it's the same thing or they're a goddess and that's what they're hooked on. Like it's almost
You're
like
messing these women's heads up. You're messing their heads up. You keeping
yeah,
on calling them goddesses and all this because a
yeah,
lot of them, I don't care who you are, you keep getting told that you're the shit.
yeah,
Eventually, you are gonna smell yourself and be like, "Yeah, I'm the shit." And
mm,
it takes a lot of self discipline and humility to actually ground yourself and be like, "I got all these dudes on the internet telling me I'm the shit every fucking day,
yeah,
and now I have to realize like just another human being like the rest." And a lot of these
yeah,
girls, because a lot of younger and don't have a lot of experience in the world, they do feel that way about themselves, and so it shows in their lack of personality. And another thing too, I'm one of those dudes. I'm not gonna lie. Even when I was younger, we're talking about when I was a teenager and I first came across the forum boards and stuff.
yeah,
The stuff that I would read, most of the schmoes, every time like a woman had a post or anything, it was always the same. How can I worship? Blah blah blah. And I'm just like, you motherfucker, you MFers are boring, and you heard it for guys like me who want to have deep, cool conversations beyond the muscle. Yeah, we can play with the muscle stuff later on. Like I
yeah,
love, I love tussling with a strong woman, but when we actually talk and get to know each other as people, let's explore more about what this world is about, the stuff that we've experienced and seen, and you know, and let's have fun too in our conversation, our dialogue, whatever. Let's not always immediately start talking about the same old, oh, you're a goddess. And I see it too. Every time I post a drawing of one of these women, when they do share it on their post, and if I'm tagged in on the collaborator, I see all the comments too, and I'm just like, you, it's just boring. And if I
yeah.
was a girl that was getting that all day every day, I'm pretty sure it would turn me into a shallow narcissist as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's not just even muscle women, but it's women. Period. I noticed. Like when you feed things, because it's like when you pedalize them, they don't pay attention to you, and I've experienced that, man. A lot of times, I would just always focus on looks, and I got pretty much I got burned by it and stuff. I mean, I still got those thoughts and fantasies and admiring and stuff like that, but after a while, it just kind of like, damn, this is corny, man. Like, so yeah,
I guess what, you recognizing that there are plenty of women, female muscle people who will recognize if you're able to see. Honestly, a lot of them, or the ones that I've encountered, they actually dig more when those of us who get put in the schmo category can recognize the stupid behavior of other schmoes. And then I've noticed some of the best, or it opens them up because then they're like, okay, this dude is a critical thinker. He's not like the rest of these dudes that worship muscle women. He actually has a critical brain, and subconsciously, I think they're telling themselves too, he won't sell out to me just because he's so enamored for my muscles. Like a lot of these women can sense that these guys are so attracted to my muscles, they'll do anything. They will sell their soul for me. And I
Yeah,
think subconsciously that actually sends a red flag to the woman's like biological nature. And I think her her defense mechanisms start to kick in, and she's like, I don't trust you to like me.
yeah.
So a lot of
Have
these
you
schmucks
met
don't
guys
realize.
like that? Have you
Yeah,
encountered guys like?
I've seen them in person. There was one time, it was me and this strong woman named Gabby, the Austrian actress. I met her at the Savannah Strongman show several years ago. I drew her. We basically went on a date after that. It was cool. Um, and there were some other strongman people in like this little club after party that we went to, but me and her were at a separate table just chatting.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then this one dude kept passing by and kind of hovering over our table several times.
Mm.
And I could tell he was being a creeper. And it made Gabby uncomfortable. And so eventually, like, when he passed by one more time, I got up and went and I said, hey, bro, I need you to stop passing by our table. Because, I can tell you're basically stalking. And it's like, I didn't threaten or anything like that. Did it very cordial, but he got the message, went away. But those types of encounters are what some of these women experience on a pretty, I won't say every day, but a regular basis. And even me, I was creeped out by it. I was like, man, this motherfucker's getting on my nerves hard. So imagine too, and just because these girls have lots of muscle doesn't mean that they feel inner confidence that they can go like fight and defend themselves if a dude like that were to attack them.
Right.
So I remember Gabby was she was impressed that I went and did it, and then it made her like me even more. Because I'm just like, look, man, like dudes like that give dudes like me a bad reputation. It's like you think now, subconsciously, you're gonna think now like any dude that likes muscle woman is gonna be this creepy lurker dude is gonna let me just see what you're doing. So it's
Yeah, I don't know, man. Sometimes, I mean, I be wondering, like, they probably don't get, that interaction with women, and so they see these women with muscles. It's like they just kind of lose themselves. That's how I don't
yeah.
know.
I can't be hypocritical because when I first went to bodybuilding shows and stuff, when I was 19 when I went to my first expo. Actually, it was the Europa Dallas. I didn't do that per se, but with certain ones that I saw that super stimulated me, yes, I watched them from a distance. So I even remember one who seemed like she was kind of interested in me, but I was too young to really. Her name was Jill Brooks. She was beautiful.
Joe Bucks.
I wasn't confident enough to approach her, but I saw her several times over the course of years, and every time we saw each other, we made like prolonged eye contact with each other. But I didn't have the confidence, and I think that's what a lot of the smokers were lacking. Now, if I was to see her nowadays, especially now that I've rubbed shoulders with more muscle women, then yeah, I'd be like, hey, what's up? Would you? I see you a couple times. Would you be interested in chatting over a drink or something?
Yeah,
Uh,
and I think that's the thing too. They probably don't know what to say, and they do say something. It's gonna be the same thing, or it's gonna be boring, and they
mm-hmm.
might the women might not be interested in them, or they just gonna have them in the friend zone or something like that. So yeah.
Yep.
So
Yeah,
George
it is true.
George says I met Alina, and then he says women just want a man to be a man. That don't want anyone who they push around. Remember the time in my interview interview with Mandy. Yeah, I remember that. I commend him on that. Yeah, like he was interviewing this chick that I interviewed before, and they was going at it about sexualization, and she used to do sessions and all that stuff. Yeah, and then so she just started seeing how corrupt the industry is, and so she kind of fell back off of it. So she was like more into this spiritual path. And so him, her and George, they got into it about she was saying that the guys they turn. I'm gonna say it in my own way that the guys was a bit of a turn off, like they're just going for the flesh and they're not seeing the person inside and all that stuff. And so George got a little uh, you know um I would say offended by it because he was reaching out to her and he's just talking to her, and he was telling her like, look, I like them too, and yes, I jerked off too at times, because I appreciate you women with muscles and stuff like that. I've been a fan for he been a fan for like 30 years and stuff like that. And so, she just didn't pay it no mind. And then he was saying something, and I think she wanted to like dominate the conversation, but he told her like, I let you talk, now you have to let me talk. And I'm like, yeah, George. I
Well,
ain't never seen that. That was like the best part I seen George just actually do that, man. I was like, yeah, George, let her know.
I'll have to check out the conversation on another day. But I
Yeah,
will say, like, I don't time and place for everything. You don't want to be telling girls that you were jerking off to their images and stuff like that. I
no,
think
but
like
I get what he's saying, but
that's
I get I get what he's saying. He was just being real, like
yeah,
because he was
you can be
saying,
real, but have a filter. Have a filter. Like, see,
yeah, yeah,
one of the things that these girls. So you already know that the girls view all men or a lot of the guys that like them as schmoes. Be careful with what you want to articulate to them. You can get to
yeah,
that type of stuff like deeper in the conversation. What I will say, George is right that a lot of the strong, confident women, the confident ones, do want, if they're interested in guys, they're interested in men who are strong and confident, and they don't want to boss them around. There is a segment of these women who are users, and they do want the men that they can boss around because those are the dudes it's easy to take the money because
mm,
all they want to do is get pictures of all this other stuff, or if they're out on a date with them. I've seen several times where dudes were paying just to be on a date with some of these top women because you could tell they had no interest in each other. The woman, or usually the female bodybuilder, had no interest in the dude, and the dude was like a lanky, nerdy guy. But basically paid not just for like did all the stuff that you normally a man does when you're paying for drinks and where to go and all that. But he literally shelled out hundreds, if not even thousands of dollars just to actually he's paying her to be on the date with him as if it was like a session or something. That is like those types of women are users and they don't really care about what we kind of think of as normal man woman relationships. They're just kind of like, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna be a vampire. I'm
they're
gonna suck it.
predatory,
Exactly.
yeah,
And there's
predatory,
a lot
yeah,
of them in this industry. There is a lot of them in this industry because this industry breeds a high level of narcissistic people. That's just the nature of um, egomaniacal, manipulative, narcissistic people. And that's one of the things why I think we, as guys that like female muscle, we have to start really putting our filters on and scanning like, is she a user? Is she someone that just views all men as worthless schmoes? Because truth be told, no matter how much you try to impress her, she's not going to look at you any different. She's just going to be like,
yeah,
okay, I can really toy and pull him. She has to come through her own development in life to get her to change that perspective. I know this because Alina has told me this, where several of the women, when they were younger, had a much more skewed view of the world. And then when they hit their 40s, usually after retiring, whatever, they get more grounded and they realize like, you know what, I'm it's wrong the behavior of me trying to just be predatory on these men and play on their deep um, fetishes just to basically hold a carrot in front of them and never really give them play. Because too, even if you get the sex with them, if deep down she really doesn't want to see you again or anything like that, you're not going to feel emotionally fulfilled, you know. So there's um, there's a level of a deep level of psychology that goes into the relationship between us men that love muscle women and then the muscle women themselves, how they took on the craft to become what they became, but then also how they view a lot of men. Some of them were abused growing up. Some of them, and not just physically, you're talking about emotionally, verbally, called fat if they were heavier, or called too skinny, all these other things. Maybe were abused by their boyfriends or father figures. So some of them, quite a few, have very negative um, perspectives on men. And it's kind of like, well, you all screwed me over in the past. Now it's my chance. Now y'all all love me. Look how pretty I am. And I see that a lot on Instagram. You see a lot of them post pictures of what they looked like before when they were not in
Yeah.
shape.
Yup.
They like,
Yeah.
look,
It was
look,
horrible.
back then y'all used to, yeah, there's Mike Jones. Back then didn't want me. Now I'm hot, y'all. They all on me. And they post that, and
Yeah.
that shows very toxic mindset because now they're beautiful and they want to weaponize that against all the men who in the past rejected them.
Yeah. I mean, do you think it's just them, like bodybuilders? But I know
No, no,
specifically
no.
you just talk.
If you're a bodybuilding, interview channel, so and
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
feature a lot of them. I hone in on the muscle women because it's a small niche community that's very readily apparent.
Yeah.
But yes,
Right.
if you expand it to all women, not all, let's not say all in the whole world,
A
but
lot of women. A lot of women.
a lot of women in Western society. So we're talking
Yeah.
about America, developed countries, be growing up with the Hollywood images that get fed to them get fed to all of us since an early age, as well as if you listen to a lot of the music subconsciously is teaching women to hate men, like the girls like what's it called? Not
Destiny
hate,
Child.
not well, yeah, I mean, but even then, there's subtle.
You gotta
But it's
have a
been going on for a long time.
J-O-B if you wanna be with me. That type of shit. That I remember I heard
Yeah,
that when I was a kid. That song that just stands out because this girl she was winding her body and stuff like to that song. I was in the school bus and she was hearing that song and she was just going crazy. She was losing herself with that song.
but yeah, to that is an example of it. But the girls like the Sexy Reds and the
Yeah,
Cardi B's and all that. But here's the thing too. Let's not just point the finger at them. Men in the music industry were doing it for a long time. Like if you go
yeah,
look at hip hop, mainstream hip hop, especially from the '90s and 2000s, was all about degrading and using women. So we had several decades of that, of training men to abuse women, and then now it's flipped to where it's more women being trained to abuse men
yeah.
psychologically at least.
You're a little
And
blurry.
my bad. I don't know why. I didn't do
Yeah,
anything. But um, the the power right now is more with the women because their currency right now is social gratification. Just looking good on pictures. You, a woman who looks good, at least in the internet world, is going to be able to get much more gifts, money, etc., versus a guy who, quote unquote, looks good or um, shows off that he has a lot of money. Like there's just way more dudes out there, lonely guys who will do anything just to get a chance to talk to a girl. So they'll throw on 50 bucks or 100, to Cash App, all this other stuff, hit their link tree, and do, of course, their OnlyFans and all that. But there's a lot of girls that don't need to even do OnlyFans. There's so many guys that'll reach out and give them that.
Yeah.
That's spoiling and training them to, basically just be like, okay, every man I meet, if he's interested in me, he's just a bank. He's just an ATM for me, and then when you become a man who's not like that, because I've been on several dates where I sense that behavior, and I'll be cordial and all that, but I'm not down with women just using me just for the sake of using me. Like,
of course. Why you
So-
you gonna get tired of that? You just, yeah. I mean,
when I
of
see it,
course.
I'm like, nah, I don't want to be with you no more. Like screw that.
But some men.
don't get,
No, I was about to say some men they don't mind tricking. That's the thing. They don't mind
have
tricking.
enough self-respect. They don't have enough
Yeah.
self-respect. And this is
Yeah.
what I talked about earlier about the woman sensing that you're willing to sell your soul for her. Well, whenever you're willing to do anything and everything for her, and just to get the pussy, she knows that deep down. Then she
You
loses
take advantage
respect.
of you. I
They
kind of
lose-
have
they-
like experience. I had a little experience with that not too long ago, but I ain't gonna go too deep into it. But yeah, I had some experience on it. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think almost all of us that have been on enough dates have experienced that.
Yeah. Strippers are about the same. They get jaded by how men behave. Yeah, I remember I went to a strip joint with my friend and stuff. And the chicks there, they was predatory, man. They would just come at you. And I think like one time there was one point, my friend, he was tapping me on my feet, but I didn't know what he was tapping me. I'm like, what you tapping me for? I was like, he was giving me the signal like, yo, we gotta come with some excuse that we gotta go or something like that, because he was telling them, yeah, I gotta go, yeah, we're about to go, me and my friend. And so he was tapping my feet, and I was like, yo, why you tapping me? I didn't realize that he's telling me, yo, let's get the hell out of here, because these boys, they about to take, they don't care, they predatory, man. Like I'm not saying that men ain't, but they something else, man. Like they are something else.
It's just in our culture. Our culture trains women that if you have the looks, hunt. There's not all of them, but there's several of them who don't. But it just seems like if you go around the world, and I've only been out of country a few times, this dynamic that we're talking about is way more common here in America. You don't see it as much in places like Japan, in places like Thailand. Just from what I observed. So I think it's very.
I heard stories though with them like Thailand and stuff, the lady boys certain women.
I have to clarify with Thailand. I wasn't in Bangkok that long. Like Bangkok and those high tourist areas, yes, you're gonna have a lot of that predatory. But when I'm talking about like more of the islands, what was that? Phuket, Phi Islands, I didn't see that. From the normal, like just everyday Thai person, they're not doing there's not a lot of there's not a highly sexualized culture in that area. But if you go to like Bangkok, that city, like yes, it's extremely. But I was only in Bangkok for one night. I didn't want to be there that long. I wanted to be more in the I wanted to be in more of the island jungle type of areas, and that's where I spent most of my trip.
Yeah, I mean, I put some videos real quick to check it out. Yeah, I got that from TikTok and stuff. Like, I wanted your opinion on it. Like, what's your thoughts on like AI and all this muscle growth, female muscle growth thing as art? Like, do you think that it's perverted now?
I think AI, the AI it's continuing to be unleashed on us as people is going to F our worlds up. I think the people that have created these programs and stuff know what they're doing. First off, by trying to devalue artists. Um, that's one of the reasons why they put the programs out there is to make art jobs less important or irrelevant in the average everyday person's life. And it's an easy way to stimulate people, especially when it comes to the muscle women. Because
Mm.
look at all of them; those women are way bigger and even way more shredded than real muscle women can get. I'm not gonna lie to you; like if I saw a muscle woman that big, I'd go crazy over her. But I'm also like, why do they have to be super shredded too? Like, why can't y'all have like muscle curvy women? Like, and that's the thing. It's like you guys want to push the extreme, 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 extreme. And I honestly think it's so funny. I see right now that AI is being used to devalue art jobs, but I see pretty soon AI stuff is going to end up taking attraction away from some of these real women on the internet, the
Mm.
social media girls, because there's going to be a lot of dudes out there that are willing to now pay programs just to have these AI chats with those super dolled up women who look basically better than any real woman because
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
basically almost perfect. And I think it's being done. It's designed on purpose, man. This stuff is not accidental. It's not just for our amusement. These things are meant to hurt certain people's pockets, and it's also meant to make the rich richer. Um,
yeah.
there's a lot of big companies that have put their money in this AI stuff, and they're paying influencers to promote it. Earlier this week, I got upset when I saw a lot of people in the fitness industry doing the Studio Ghibli style of where they were basically using like turning themselves into Studio Ghibli characters,
Oh
and
yeah, yeah. I recently started seeing that with the anime type of look. Yeah, yeah,
it's because the fitness industry people, but also people as a whole right now, normative narcissism, you could call it. They're they're just gonna go with whatever's trending. So I when I saw all of them and it was flooding my account, I'm like, okay, the algorithm is probably rewarding you if you were to do it. So say if I was to do a version of myself on that, I'd probably get versus however many few likes I get right now, I'd probably get hundreds to even 1,000 likes, just because I'm
yeah.
promoting program. Or and it could be both. Some popular influencer, and I did find out there was somebody who was like promoting it. He went on his channel on TikTok or something like that, and did it of himself and showed a bunch of examples. And this guy, I think, has millions of followers, so everyone jumped on board. Like you know, people right nowadays just want to do whatever's going to get them popular. So if they see an influencer doing something, they're going to jump on. Like honestly, if the influencer created an emoji or an AI version of him, like a pile of shit, all the people would go and do the exact same thing because they're like, oh, this is what's gonna get me popular right now. This is what's cool right now. Like a bunch of fucking lames, man. This is the type of stuff that makes me look at our society and the people that are growing up in it with some like someone like me talking about this shit. I look at a lot of the stuff that's going on with society, and I'm just like, man, we are headed in a really messed up place, and it's mainly because people's minds are going to be so messed up. AI is going to cause people to think less for themselves. It's already happening. Like I've come
Yeah,
across so many people that have AI do the most menial things, and it's like, bro, over time, your brain is going to deteriorate. It's just like someone who
yeah,
sits there and watches too much TV all the time. They're not. thinking and processing information much on their own. They're just literally being fed constantly. And now you have it at the click of your fingers all day, every day of your entire existence. And now it's over sexualizing you. And this is an issue I'm running into. My feed sometimes is flooded with lots of muscle women, bodybuilders, strong women, all this other stuff. It's too much. If I'm seeing, and I mindlessly scroll sometimes too. But the thing is, when you're seeing that much sexual appetite like all the time, you're gonna get stuck. You're gonna get full, and then you lose your interest and appreciation for it. It's no longer stimulating for you as much as it used to be. It's not overnight either, but it takes place over time. And right now, I'm having to train myself not to, like, whenever I'm just bored somewhere, go and pull up Instagram and scroll or whatever. I'm having to kind of retrain myself to get away from that because I still want to be excited to draw muscle women. I'm not going to be excited to draw muscle women if I'm seeing pictures and images and AI ones all day, every day.
Yeah.
It's going to become kind of like boring or just, it's not as stimulating anymore.
Yeah.
So what's funny was one time I met a dude at the gym, and this is another thing I don't like about these people who really are twisted with how they use the AI. I was drawing at the gym. I had my booth and table there, and of course, it had lots of muscle women out on display, or drawings of muscle women. And then this dude came up to me and he's like, "Oh, look what I." He said basically, "Look what I drew," and I could tell it was an AI generated image. It's like, "Oh yeah, AI did that," and then he kind of like. He was like, and I was like, yeah, I've seen lots of those pictures, but he was trying to pass it off as if he drew it. And I was like,
Yeah.
no, yeah, I did that. And like, I was like, okay, whatever. But in a way, he was trying to make me he was trying to show off, but in a way, kind of be like, look how much better this is, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, well, you didn't draw it. So like, okay, yeah. It's cool,
Yeah.
but it's what it is. And that's another thing too. A lot of people that are promoting the AI stuff, they do deep down hate. Not all of them, but there's a good amount that hate artists, and it comes from being envious of us. They think it's all a natural talent, that we just like. A lot of people think that I just I was born out of the womb being able to draw the characters you see behind me.
It's
So
practice. It's
yeah,
not easy
it's
to do.
long,
Yeah, it's a
thousands and thousands
practice.
of hours. Yes,
Yeah.
but people
Yeah.
care. People don't care, and a lot of people don't put that type of effort into their own craft in anything. So
Yeah.
then, when they see you develop it and they see that it's good, and that sometimes you get attention or money from it, then there's like this resentment, and they don't vocalize it to me in my face, but I've had many interactions with people, and I'm like, they're pretending to like my stuff or to like me, but deep down, I get the sense that this person would stab me in a heartbeat if I was walking down an alley at night, because you can just feel there's animosity, there's resentment. It's like F you, like how dare you, spend all your life developing a skill, and that's because a lot of
Yeah.
them don't develop skills. So of course, when they get something like AI, which they can just type in 2 or 3 words and then boom, get this fabulous looking image, of course they're gonna rejoice in it. So,
Yeah.
but I don't think their victory is going to be that long, that long, just because at the end of the day, when you really don't put work into whatever you're getting fed, you lose appreciation for it. And a lot of those people that love AI stuff, I could see them growing bored of it in a heartbeat.
Yeah, I didn't see it in that way. I just see it like I don't know because I see them doing it in music too. So I didn't really come to think about it, but I just see that there's things I kind of agree with you on that you touch home, like that this was designed to kind of corrupts people's mind and all that stuff like that. Because I was on watching a program about how communism, like communism is in America and stuff, and it goes back to atheists like Karl Marx and stuff like that, and they were like they were like more like the pioneers of what it is today. And so, like during the years, people kind of infiltrated like the US, and they would put it like on the ideologies like in schools and art and music and all that type of stuff, but people don't really realize where it comes from. Like they look at things as a separate entity, where these things, they're all together. And yeah, it was a lot. It was this program I was watching, and it was kind of breaking down certain things, how over the years and centuries, people was planning to do things to sabotage humanity and stuff. And they'll use like technology to kind of to throw people off, get lazy, kind of all type of stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I 100% agree that if you really just study human history, especially in advanced in the Western world, the ruling class always is looking for ways to brainwash the masses.
Yeah.
This is not a new phenomenon. This has been going on since like ancient Rome, ancient Babylon. The means of doing it is much more sophisticated because it's much more subtle, and they can confuse people now more with the internet. Um, and whenever you create all these systems and you've hidden them so well, and you've dumbed down the people enough, they're not gonna know, and they're not. A lot of them aren't even gonna care whenever they do find out. They just feel like, well, just as long as I still got my video games and TV shows, that's all that matters, you know. Um, the the ruling, the powers that should not be, like to capitalize and play that game. And I mean, being African American, studying African American history, like look at what was done to our race, in this country. And I know it's a touchy subject for a lot of people because they like to ignore it. And I'm not one of those that dwells on the past, but I do look at that history and see the psychological games that were played. It wasn't so much like sticking a gun to people's head and like, waging wars to make them become slaves. It was much more of a psychological, let's break you down and create you into the perfect being for our system. And the perfect being for our system is a mindless laborer in the case of a slave. There's a lot of detailed, uh, even with just how they use words, like even the term black and all that, a word that's associated with a lot of negative stuff in European culture. You think of Black Plague, Black Death, Black Cats, blackball, blackmail. It's a lot of negative things, and they throw that label black on people who have a darker skin or richer skin, but it's not black. It's a subconscious way of associating that group of people with something evil and despicable, and then growing to get them to accept that label of themselves. And we still, accept it to this day. That's just a very nuanced, small example. There's a YouTuber guy named what's his name? I'm gonna look it up real quick because he has several videos on the psychological warfare that was used in that day, and how you can see some of that psychological warfare still being used, mostly on African Americans today, but he also expands it to all groups. He doesn't discriminate. He talks about like the ruling class, they don't like any common people. Like whether you're European, white, black, African, uh, let me look at his name. Oh, Brooklyn St. Michael. Brooklyn St.
Brooklyn
Michael
Saint Michael, I never heard of him.
he
Yeah,
has
I probably
he's an
could check him out.
you should, man. I'm gonna send you a text of him later. If
Yeah.
anyone's watching this video and they made it to this part, I want them to check out Brooklyn St. Michael because he's just great for understanding. He grabs a lot of resources in how ruling class people play games to dumb down and manipulate the common everyday person. His subject matter is mostly on African American history, but he does tap into how even the English used it against the Irish, other parts of ancient history as well, and then even ties into some of the stuff we see today with how the media is used to dumb down pretty much everybody, and it's
Yeah,
mainly to make us, mindless consumers in a way. But
yeah,
also, it's meant to drive out the skill of people. It's meant to make people lazy and less skilled. Because when you're lazy, less skilled, you become dependent on the government for everything. The government
yeah,
says, "Well, you have to do this in order for me to feed you," and if you don't do what they say, then you ain't gonna get fed, and you ain't gonna know how to feed yourself
yeah,
because you haven't developed the skill.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I didn't really thought about it with the AI, with the AI art and stuff like that. But yeah, man, I mean, you touch home with that. Yeah,
They don't want you to think about it like that. They don't. When people hear me talk about this stuff, they get a little uncomfortable because part of them part of them suspects that AI can be used against us in a negative way, and I think it is going to. I'm like, when I
yeah,
first heard about this stuff, like, yeah, the science fiction movies did play a big factor in my being like, I don't know if this is such a great direction we should go,
yeah,
but also too, just knowing human history, how people in power always use new technologies to screw over the rest of us. I'm like, guys, all you got to do is open up a history book. But that's the thing. They've dumbed down people to where they don't want to read a book.
I mean, you could look
They'll
at
go and
documentaries if you don't want to read. I mean, they got some
yeah.
documentaries. Yeah, I mean, I mean, you could just go. You can even like look up something and it pops up and you could just read about it. Like this YouTuber, he mentioned. I remember he was talking about this guy that a lot of pop culture musicians and people from the entertainment industry was influenced to. His name was Alex Crowley, and he was more
Mm-hmm.
of a liberated type of guy, you know, that kind of invited the sexuality and the pervertedness that
He's in the
people.
witchcraft. He was a witch.
Yeah, yeah, he
He's a
was a
warlock.
witchcraft, exactly. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think
Yeah, he definitely.
he said he encountered a demon or something, and this demon kind of encouraged him to do certain things. Like he would read about yoga, tantric stuff, and other thing like witchcraft, like you said. And he I don't know, he just kind of wrote a book about his ideology of certain things, and people was influenced. The Beatles, what's his name? What's his name? From the dude that died, the Playboy Bunny guy, Hugh Hefner.
Hugh
He
Hefner. Yeah.
Yeah, he was influenced by him and stuff. Yeah, a lot of them they were. Yeah, I mean, like
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff on Aleister Crowley,
yeah,
and I don't know like how legitimate it is him talking to demons and stuff like that. But then again, I don't put it past people who play around with that stuff.
yeah,
I have no idea what they encounter, and I don't want to know. I don't want to get
yeah,
into those types of. But I do believe, based on the stuff that I've read and seen in documentaries, that he heavily influenced and infiltrated American media, and he promoted degeneracy to American culture, um, and being over sexualized, debauchery, and all this type of stuff. And you see it since the '60s. We've become a more and more vulgar, just looking at our movies and music, a much more vulgar, much more dumbed down society, uh, and it's constantly promoting it. And when you see, like, I saw hip hop, how hip hop early on was a more pure, fun, nuanced. It sometimes talked about street, political culture and stuff, and then transformed to where it became only about gangster music. And then I grew up. I was born in '87, so growing up in the '90s, seeing how it was transforming the young African American mind to become more hostile towards women, use them, and then also kill each other for the dumbest reasons, material reasons. and we were starting to do it more. And it was a lot of times because we're following these music artists. Well,
Yeah.
it wasn't that hip hop organically just chose, oh, we're going to become this gangster type of aura. It's because a lot of European men who had lots of money started to push the artists who, or promote the artists who are going to provide that dumbed down negative messaging.
Yeah.
NWA is the prime example of how it first really blew up. And then you had the whole Biggie and Tupac thing, and then um, ever since then, it's like rap has all become about materialism, violence, vulgar, just being as vulgar as possible, versus in the past when it was a lot more nuanced, where there were several rappers that would talk about comic books and this stuff, talk about political activism, talk about just the subtleties of being like black in America, um, and even just ones that were just pure dumb fun, and then you also had the street grimy stuff too. But a lot of times, if you actually look at some of the best rappers who talked about like the grimy street culture that everyone praises, most of those rappers were actually warning people against it. They're like, yeah, we take part in a little bit of this life, but it's not something you want to really aspire to be because it's not a long lasting game. You're gonna either end up dead or in prison. So they were telling more cautionary tales versus like promoting it.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know, man. It is what it is. Just people just gotta have to open their eyes and don't be brainwashed. So
And
yeah.
there's some out there, I believe, that are not going to be brainwashed. One of the things that gives me optimism is when I'm drawing people at these events and at places, I come across several kids. I'm talking about kids as young as 7 years old who can see some of the problems. They're very much like they're not into everything that everyone else is into. They're not into jumping on TikTok and Instagram like all their friends are, or they're questioning some of the messages that they're getting in, the newest Disney movies or whatever. They're just kind of like, I don't like these movies. These are kind of like, they can't articulate it that well, but it's like their spider sense is tingling. And
Yeah.
especially a lot of them who like to draw, one of the things that does make me happy is the kids who see me drawing and then they ask me, how did I get good like this? And I'm like, I started when I was your age and I did not stop. Keep doing it for the rest of your life. I try to give them nuggets on drawing stuff that they like, and then sometimes
Yeah.
branching out, trying new things. But I try to be that positive influence of don't get discouraged by seeing all the AI crap and all this other stuff. Focus on your craft, continue to develop it, and eventually you can get like this to where it becomes your profession, if you want it to be, or you can just have it be a hobby that helps be therapy for you. I don't want there to be a future, and I think that's what some of these people who develop the AI want. They want there to be a future where there is no artist, no human artist. They want to get rid of them all. They want to discourage um, a lot of people from being creative because creative is another power of intellect that a lot of people take for granted, and it's one of the highest, if not the highest form of intellect. Is taking the things that already exist and creating something new with that. Um, that's a threat to power structure because that means that person who's doing the creating is going to see a new way that the world should operate, and then they're going to start to influence people with their music or their drawing or their movie or whatever to start being like, maybe we should start to consider that way. The powers that be, the ones that just want money, 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 and to control people, they hate that. And that's why there's plenty of examples throughout history of fascist dictator type regimes destroying art or trying to kill off the artists because they know that the artist is an intellectual threat to them.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I mean, thank you for sharing that. Yeah, I had other videos. Um,
Can I while you're getting ready to do that, I just need to get up and use the restroom real quick.
no, go ahead, go ahead. Yeah. while we at it, folks, we look at his whatchamacallit, his YouTube channel. I mean his Instagram. Let me see. Okay. Let me see. I don't know if people can see this. Okay. Yeah, let's look at his stuff, guys. Yeah, some artwork. He drew a lot of people.
All right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, well, I was gonna just show. I had other videos and stuff, so we could look at
My
this one
favorite
right
thing about
here.
being a
I think,
professional bodybuilder is like walking down the street and passing a group of guys. When you have a bunch of muscle as a woman, they're always like, or they're like, and you know, when I'm walking by them, I'm always like, oh my God, I look ginormous right now. It's my favorite.
I think we've seen that before. I think I posted that before when we was talking about the other topic. I'm not sure, but I was trying to get some TikTok stuff on female muscle, but I don't know. I mean, it kind of based on what we was talking about earlier, about trying to get validate the women bodybuilders getting like this validation from guys and stuff like that, because a lot of them they'll be having like a sense of security about being looked at as similar to a man and stuff like that. And you know, I'm gonna keep it 100. Like I know like a lot of them may not like what I'm gonna say, but it is almost similar to a transformer, if you know what I mean. Like, because sometimes the transformers they are a bit masculine, and some of them they do look like a woman, and sometimes it's hard to differentiate, who's who, So I mean, and then that's what the insecurities are there, but you know, I I don't know. It's just,
I'm in agreement with you, man. I've seen some Transformers actually step up and start competing in women's bodybuilding, and then
yeah,
as the judges, and this remember when in that video I did with or the interview I did with George, I talked about how the judges are judging the women based on the criteria that they judge the men. Well, that's
yeah,
led to them rewarding some of these transformers to where I've seen one win a competition and then some they usually place very high. And I'm like, whoa, guys, a muscular woman is not the same as a guy that became a woman or
yeah,
transformed. That's not the same at all. But we're being led right now in this world where they're trying to confuse us. Like the powers that should not be are trying to blur reality, distort reality. Me, I would much rather just keep my interest in buff women, very buff women. And when I say very buff, I also mean very curvy, because them being very buff and super hard and striated and all that doesn't do anything for me. When I was a teenager, I was more attracted to that, but I'm also, because now the Transformers are looking more and more, or becoming more convincing in their appearance of women. I don't want to find myself getting lured by one of them, because I do
right,
know some men that have, and it's very confusing. Like most of them, when they find out about it later, it's traumatizing. And there's a lot of people out there right now that are trying to say, oh, that's there's no difference. It's like, yes, there is. Like you can't convince someone who's always known what man and woman is to he's been attracted to woman all his life, and then he engages with something that he thinks is a woman that was a woman from day one, but then he finds out afterwards or during that it it was a man that became a woman. That shocks him. That shocks a human being. And the
Yeah.
people who try to blame to castigate these people and say, "Oh, that's wrong," blah blah blah. No, you all are wrong for trying to force this ideology onto people. Leave it as it is. Like you can engage in that. I'm not one of those that says they can't do what they want to do. You can do it, but if a day comes where all of a sudden it's just trans winning female bodybuilding shows and stuff like that, I can't tell you who's gonna be pissed off about it. The women themselves,
Yeah.
muscle women themselves, and they're gonna have a right to be. I'd be like, what the heck is this? But well, back to what you were saying about the Julia character. Yeah, she looked huge on that. I think she used to be bigger. Because I was actually looking at some of her Instagram. Like she does look good, but she probably, I don't think she's really that big as how she looked in that video. Like there's ways
Yeah.
to do
I didn't even
all
know
that.
her name. I just know I seen her. Yeah.
She's from Texas. I know she used to actually be bigger, where she was like thick and curvy.
Yeah.
Now she's more cut down. But yeah, like what you were saying, when I saw that video of her, I'm like, she's gloating right now. She wants that attention. Now, some of the women do not like the disgusting attention they get from men, but there's several of them who are like, they want that. Oh, like, look, this girl is more jacked than me. Oh my God, like what the heck? Oh, look. They live for it. Like, why else? Some of them, it's like, why else would you get that way if you didn't want that? They want it, and then they complain about it. That's what's funny. Is like, you wanted that attention, and now you're kind of like bitching about it. And it's like, okay, that's why a lot of them, it just feels like, and I can share this sentiment. Being an artist, it's like they're constantly not content. I'm constantly not content with my work, and then they're constantly not content with the attention that they're getting, or they're not getting it from the guys that they wanted to get it from, that type of thing. One of the biggest issues that I have is, for whatever reason, it's like the universe or God is playing a huge trick on me. He's making me right now super attracted. He's making me super attracted to women who are not available, whether they're already in a relationship with somebody, or they're just not interested in me, or maybe they're freaked out because they know that I'm a muscle artist, whatever. Like right now, I'm on a pretty, aside from say girls like Nikki actually lives far from me, so I don't see her that often. I have noticed that sometimes if I'm like far from a woman, like we hit it off really, really well, and then we date, and then I just come whenever I'm in town, we mingle, have fun. That I do like, but I'm not on the road like that all the time. So it's like whenever I come across the women I'm really attracted to that say are within vicinity of me at the gym and all that, like they're just not available. And it's like, what the heck? I mainly attract women I am not attracted to, and then I'm trying to force myself to be attracted to them, but it's very hard to do. So
That you
I
said earlier.
just think it's a big.
You said earlier, like you not that women they found out that you draw muscle women, and then they're not attracted to you.
It depends on which type of woman it is. Like,
Oh,
I've seen what it is mostly so interesting. It's mostly like smaller girls, like girls that you would consider like the really pretty, like blonde haired, blue eyed, like they were the class, like super popular girls growing up. They're the ones that have become more interested in me. And I used to be much more interested in them when I was in, high school and all that. But they see the muscle woman stuff, and it's like they know that they don't look anything like that, but I don't know, it's like they get entranced that I'm into that. And then they sometimes, I've seen some scrawny but beautiful women who will compare themselves to like the big bodybuilder pink girl that I have on my banner and say, "Oh, that's like me," and then they're kind of like looking at me like to see if I think they look like them. I'm like, well, beauty wise,
Mm.
you do, but you're missing all the muscle. But the girls that look most like the ones that I'm attracted to draw, yeah, whenever they see me anywhere, any type of pop up event, they stay clear. And I think it's because they see like what I'm most attracted to, and they're closest to that body type, so they're just like, I'm gonna stay away from it. Sometimes, sometimes their friends or somebody will be like, "Oh, that's you," and kind of try to open that door, but usually no bueno. I did get a thick, curvy muscle girl to come dress up as Chun Li recently, um,
Yeah,
and that was cool. I wanted to do more stuff like that, but the problem with those types of chicks too is just they're just so non-responsive, man. That's another thing. It's like we text, they're usually on timely, view all the messages all of a sudden. Then once the meeting and the art's done, and then like I'm trying to say set up for future because that's the thing. She was like, "Hey, we can do some more in the future." Well, then when I'm trying to link up for that future time at another place, like no response. Now all of a sudden they're ghosting. Um, and some of it too, I know that some of them just want to string along a man and see if they can get him to chase and bend to their will. And then
yeah,
they'll say, they'll see you like a month. I've had this happen recently, like with two different women who uh, they reached out to me and were like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see your message, blah blah blah. Like I've been super busy," and then they want me to respond to them, and I ghost them like they ghost me. I'm like, "Screw you all. You knew, you saw it a month ago. Now you're like." Whoever you were using back then now has lost interest in you, or you lost interest in them. So now you want to come try to use me for a date or something like that. And I'm like, no, screw you, f you. Um, I
yeah,
don't I don't try to live the world by an eye for an eye philosophy, but and right now, women are creating an eye for an eye type of mindset in a lot of men. It's like, man, you all are so. It's just have the decency, even if I don't want to hear it, have the decency to tell me, no, today's not going to work. Or, I'm busy, or I'm seeing someone, or I just don't want to get drawn, or blah, blah, blah. Fine. I'm not going to press you for that. The ghosting and then pretending like you just never saw the message, it happens so much that it's not an accident. It's not like all women just in the world are programmed to like look at a message and forget it and then respond to you like a few weeks or a month later. It's like, oh, come on. But
yeah, man. I mean, I don't know what to say, man. I don't be going through that. I just, for me, it's like trying to reach out to women to talk to on my channel and stuff, and it's a pain in the ass. Sometimes some of them they see it and they don't respond, and then there's some that I don't know if they just have like an account and they don't look at their DMs or nothing like that. And there are some that they do, and so
oh, they do look at them. Here's the thing: what they do, they turn on that vanish mode. There's such a thing called vanish mode because I saw one do it where I sent her a message, and I can't remember about what. It wasn't even asking about like a date or anything like that. It was just something in regards to art, and like I saw like where it says "seen" at the very bottom, and then
yeah.
immediately it vanished. It went to like as if she didn't read it. And what it
Oh
is
yeah,
she swiped up the vanish mode. There's a vanish mode thing on Instagram.
yeah. I think I
And
know. Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
so a lot of
yeah,
these girls, a lot of them with the big followers, they have so many followers. They don't look at
followers.
all the messages.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
know.
they're
Yeah,
There's a
yeah,
lot of them who are innocent that they just don't look at them,
yeah,
and there's a lot of innocent ones who actually do see a message
yeah.
and they
I
forget.
see that
You
one.
know,
I see that one. I see that.
but there's I have to give credence to the fact that there are those women out there that just are too busy or they just forget. But there's
Yeah,
a sizable portion that I've seen that they see a message and they just immediately do the whole
ignore
ghosting.
it. Yeah, they ignore it or
And
go.
with them, you gotta move on. Just move on
Yeah,
from them. Like fuck them. You
yeah,
know, it's becoming more and more prevalent in our world, and unfortunately, what these women don't realize is it's actually building up a lot of animosity now from men. Men are now like, man, screw all y'all. So if I get the chance, if I ever get lots of money and stuff like that, I'm going to screw you all over, like lead you all on the. That's
yeah,
the truth. It just leads this vengeance mindset. And that's what in Western society, both men and women are trying to really emotionally hurt each other.
yeah,
We're trying to
yeah.
lead each other, and it's wrong. It's not a formula for success.
No, it's not. It's not. Yeah. I mean, I used to think that way too. If I get rich or famous, I'ma hurt them and stuff like that. But just nah. Somebody I heard, like sometimes, you gotta let them be them and just, because it's kind of like a feminine trait for you to get back at them and stuff like that. And just it is what it is, man. I don't know.
Now, vengeance is part of human nature. Um,
Yeah,
and both men and women take part in both masculine and feminine traits. So if you want to
yeah,
say sometimes vengeance is, I don't condone vengeance, but I'll tell you this as someone who's had that feeling, especially when you realize like, um, I don't know, it's especially if you become jaded and bitter towards the world, it's going to be easy to give into that. You don't have to
yeah,
give into it, but it's just going to. I can see now why some guys do that, and some of these women who are behaving this way, they've had never negative experiences with men in the past, so now they're exerting their vengeance upon men right now. So, um, one of the things that I'm going to try to do with my life is learn how to kind of accept what I need to accept, like certain patterns, and just recognize that it's not meant to be. Like right now, it doesn't seem like it's meant to be with. I'm meant to be with a woman that looks like,
yeah,
Christina. I'm not saying that it couldn't ever happen. Of course, I want that to happen, but the messaging and the patterns, the way things have gone, it's just not meant to be. So I have to learn to live life, um, develop, enjoying other things, versus putting too much focus on, well, why can't I have that? I'm reminded of the quote from the Spider-Man 2 movie where he's like, am I not supposed to have the Tobey Maguire one? He's like, I'm not supposed to have the things that I want, the things that I need. Well, I'm very much in that state in life, but trying to learn how to transfer my energy and attention elsewhere, because I have seen at times in the past. Sometimes I do link up and get with um, women who are very close to what my peak ideal is, whenever I'm not even really looking for it. Um, so that's just a thing that I'm gonna have to learn through. Maybe I need to focus more on the story of my male characters, or maybe I need to focus on the little funny boxing comics with the woman, but not have it be based on a real woman. Just base it off of my fantasy imagination. Um,
yeah.
is what it is.
Yeah, I seen some of the pictures of it. Hold on, let me see. Yeah, it was somewhere here. Well, this is one of them, but I wanna to yeah, this is it right here. Is this it? Like one of it, right?
I was actually hired to do that one. Um,
Yeah.
that yeah, that is a comic that this one guy on DeviantArt hired me to do.
Mm.
But yeah, it was cool. I enjoyed it. Uh, uh, I'm going to use that girl and that body type, um, and just yeah, continue to create more.
You ever thought about like doing animation and stuff? Cause you got that drawing style to do that. Like I like not too long ago, I was interviewing a dude and he started he did it like his first animated film and stuff, and he didn't have no experience, didn't go to school or nothing, and he just learned through YouTube.
I have not done like full out animations. I mean, I've done a.
Yeah,
See if I can pull one up here. Damn, I don't know if you can see it. Let me try it again. I'm
let me
so
see. Hold
bad with
on. Okay.
that one
Yeah,
was
I seen a
fun.
little bit of it. Yeah, I seen a little bit of that. Yeah, this is cool. Is this supposed to be you?
You could say it's an avatar kind of character that looks somewhat like me. Whenever
Yeah.
I'm making whenever I'm making a guy character, I'll just I'll just if I'm really not trying to put any effort into like really fleshing him out, I'll just make him like loosely based off of me. Um, but one of the things I will say too is um, I have had a few instances like that in real life with some muscle women.
Mm.
Where I got them to dress up as boxers, and they pinned me up against a wall. Or one of them actually, she lifted me over her shoulder. She was
Yeah.
actually taller than me too, but that's one of my little niche interests that I have. But
Oh.
one of the things that sucks about female bodybuilders is that they cannot like they cannot like I don't want them to actually like punch me or anything, but they actually cannot throw punches that well at all. They're so stiff that they can't even
Yeah,
mimic.
I think I noticed that. Yeah.
Bro,
Yeah.
they
I
are
mean,
not.
some of them they're
Not
not athletic. They
at
weren't. They
all.
didn't really have like some of them. They didn't really have that athletic background like that. And that's their only way of athleticism was
So some
bodybuilding.
of them, and some of them did have athletic backgrounds, but then they lose it by becoming so stiff. So
Yeah.
they just like I don't know, man. That's one things that also I was like got me lose some interest in the women bodybuilders. I was like, man, some of y'all are not nearly as strong as you think they are. I've met two
Mm.
who up close in person. I've met two of them who up close in person. Like if we're in close quarters to each other, they are stronger than me in terms of like wrestling or something. Or if they would have like squeezed me between their thighs, like I can't break out of it. But most of them are not nearly as strong as they look.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. This is your favorite one, Wonder Woman.
Oh yeah, the
Yeah.
girl. Did you tell her that I want her to get a divorce so I can come down to Texas and she can marry me?
Nah, I didn't. I didn't want to do that, man.
Of
I didn't
course.
want to do that.
I just wanted to see if you were gonna do it.
I didn't want to
But
do.
yeah,
Nah. What I'm gonna do? I'm gonna get out of that.
a little
Man,
laugh.
yeah, man. Was this guy supposed to be like the Submariner or?
No, he ended up. He looks like that, but no, I just drew him. If you look, you'll see what he looked like. I just drew
Yeah.
a stylized picture of him.
How often do you do you draw like the male bodybuilders?
Only when they're hiring me because I have no interest in drawing
Yeah.
bodybuilders. Like so, that one. It was a girl that hired me to draw him. She paid a good penny for it. So
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, man. So what? So you got any plans of going to a show or? You're just not really like into it like that.
I've lost interest in being into it like that. I mean, if I'm gonna make money, like
Mm,
I made money at the Arnold when I had my booth, yeah, I'll do that. But just
yeah.
going to be there, unless I see an opportunity for me to expand my branding and art business, because that's another thing too. Right now, I'm doing like you kept mentioning, I'm doing markets and fairs. I'm stepping out into new fairs that I've never tapped into because what's so funny is the regular everyday person, they are much more interested in the muscle woman art than the bodybuilder women themselves.
Mm,
The yeah, like earlier today, one of the kids asked her dad, uh, which character is your favorite? And the dad was like, I like the big boxer woman. And I was like, and he was like, it's like your mom's spirit. Like that's what she wants to be like. And I was like, that's dope, you know? Um, when I'm at those places, I sometimes get hired just because people see the muscle woman on the banner and they can't stop. They can't stop looking, and then they be like, they don't have me turn them into a muscle person. They usually just have me draw them a caricature of themselves. Um,
yeah.
but I'm fine with that because just be honest, truth be told, the real money as an artist is with caricatures. Like those
Mm,
quick doodles that we be whipping out, like
yeah.
it, it adds up, man. Yeah, we can make a pretty penny from that. So I'm going
Wow.
to start going to more markets and fairs and having you know my story characters out there, but then also my buff boxer chicks out there, and yeah, I do
Mm,
sometimes do well at gyms. Like I'm thinking about going back to another gym, but I can't be around the fitness industry people too much just because there's just a lot of egos there, and some of them are gonna be standoffish. It's like, why is this artist dude here, man? Like blah blah blah, like trying to
mm,
take attention from us or something.
yeah.
And then other times you just get the uncomfortable women who are like, like I don't like the fact that this guy draws characters that look very closely to how I'm built. You know.
Mm. I don't know what to say about that. I don't know. Uh, I don't really know. Like what? Like you still work out? Like majority of the times?
Yeah, I work out 4 to 5 days a week. I do some boxing training, and then I do like I won't say bodybuilding workouts, but I do resistance training stuff. But I mix the boxing type of exercises with a bit of the resistance training because yeah, I mean I want to stay built. I'm not a bodybuilder built by any means, but I am. I want to stay fit mainly for my own art, just because recently I've been doing stuff where I turn myself into drawings.
Mm.
So, like, this is me, of course, posing, but I'm gonna tell
Yeah,
you this drawing is I turned myself into.
a
I,
superhero.
I just I used myself in that costume, and then I came up with this. I
Oh,
kind of
that's
morphed
you.
myself. Yeah, that's me. That's me, but I
Oh,
exaggerate some of the muscles. Like
oh, yeah,
yeah. But I'm only gonna feel comfortable drawing myself like that if I actually look fit. You know.
yeah. There was this one part where you got the hat and the dark glasses and stuff like that. You look like a superhero doing that.
Yeah, like a Mortal Kombat type of character.
Yeah, I think you with that other chick, that powerlifter chick, that George interview and stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I like dressing up like that. It's fun. This is an example of that design you're talking about. That outfit.
yeah. Well, I see it right there. That one right
Mm-hmm.
here. Yeah, you look like Yeah, that look kind of cool. I ain't gonna lie, that looks cool. What inspired you to do that?
I went to
Mortal
Japan.
Kombat?
Oh,
Oh
no,
yeah. Oh
went
okay.
to
Yeah, you
Japan, and
told.
so I dressed up as a character like that, and then I decided to draw a picture of myself, kind of give myself a little bit of an ego stroke, you could say.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I tried to reach out to her, but I don't know. She ain't never responded, so I just left it alone. So
Yeah, I was gonna say, you know, if you're not making money from interviewing like these muscle women and stuff,
right.
I don't know. I don't know how much energy you need to put into it. Obviously, if it's a
Yeah,
passion, it's definitely I encourage you to continue to do it. But as you and I've talked about before, it can be very frustrating.
right,
Uh, trying to get these women to show interest in what you're trying to do. It's like you're spending more
right,
time showing interest in them and thinking that they would want to show interest in themselves as well, but then
right.
they don't. And that's the thing that we guys got to realize. A lot of these women do not care about the podcast and stuff like that. They don't care about it
Yeah,
that
I
much.
noticed that. I
It's
noticed
not a
that.
big thing on their radar. They don't look. They're not looking at it as how does this benefit me. Really, and not calling them necessarily selfish for that, but
Yeah. Some showed not to cut you off, but some showed appreciation. They do show some type of appreciation, but it's just some. You know what I'm saying? It's just some. That's it. You know.
yes, it's
But
some, and then you have to wonder between the ones, because like I said, I've come across several that have shown appreciation for my art that have actually hooked me up with booths at the Olympia and the Arnold. I've gotten free booths just from some of these muscle women hooking me
yeah,
up. Um, so that is a huge level of appreciation. Then, but like you said, it's some, and you wonder if me hunting through the ones that don't appreciate it is worth it when I finally get to the ones who do. Is it balancing out the scale, And that's where I'm realizing for me, I need to pull back a little bit. Like I'll tell you
yeah,
at the women's football game, honestly, I was not attracted to most of those women at all. They're not as there are some that are very attractive. That shocked me, but most of
yeah,
them I'm not. But one thing that I got from them when I was there, at first they were more distant. There's just like most women are gonna be, but then when they saw one of their teammates get a drawing, it opened the floodgates, and several of them started coming, and they're like, "Man, this is so dope! This is so cool!" Like they're going out of their way to promote me, and that is more of appreciation that an artist like me likes, because it's like, yeah, I'm gonna come back to y'all's game the next time, and I don't care if I make a whole bunch of sales. I did well, but I do think I'm gonna do much better, because when you have that amount of women actually going like, man, like wait till the next game, like he can draw, blah 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 blah. Then I'm like, okay, man, my pocket's about to benefit, but it's also too because these people really do appreciate the art. How many guys out there are going and drawing them, or trying to make like AI woman football type of players? There's not out there. So I'm gonna show more women. Like I love strong women, but I'm going to gravitate more, at least with the real strong women, the ones who are more appreciative of art. The others, the bodybuilders and all that other stuff. If I run across one that's cool and appreciative, yes. But I'm not gonna go out of my way to say go to the Olympia and all that. Like if I get invited or someone hooks me up with a booth or something, yeah, I'll be there. But outside of that, no.
yeah.
That's
I
why
understand.
honestly, I'll tell you the truth. I could care less about the whole them canceling women's bodybuilding and all these different shows and stuff, because these women do not. It's like they have a distorted view of reality. They believe like everyone in the world, is, well, either hates their guts because of how they look, or wants to shell out all the money in the world just to see them because they get spoiled by several schmoes online. But the reality is, they're not that popular of a niche. And when they're not going and giving effort into showing reciprocal interest in the people that show interest in them, whether that's just not just schmoes, but just artists, family members and friends, other people who are going out to show interest in them. When these women show almost like a disdain or contempt for those types of people, well, then they slowly start to lose their families. The shows get smaller, the shows start to lose money, or their division lose money. The promoters will make money off the bikini and all this other stuff. And so then what it does, the promoters are like, you know what? I'm not going to spend as much money for funding the women's bodybuilding stuff because it's not making me money. And the female competitors themselves, they're lazy when it comes to promoting. They're lazy when it comes to doing almost anything outside of working out.
Keith Williams said that too. Keith Williams, the
Yeah,
bodybuilder, he was saying that
bro,
they're
I've
very
seen it.
lazy.
Bro, Alina shared messages, stories with me about it. There's several other women that I've talked to that are high up in that world that because they have to work with the competitors now, say versus when they were competitors themselves, they're like, man, you all are so spoiled, and lazy, and useless. And that's why guys like Jake Woods and them have to start cutting the budget. It's like you cannot continue to reward lazy, egotistical people. Like that's not the way to make that industry grow. It's going to continue to make it hurt. And the only way that those people are going to learn is if it eventually burns out. So when I saw this stuff, like the last couple of weeks where George and you were posting stuff about how certain women bodybuilding shows are getting canceled, and I'm like, bro, it's because of the people that are the women bodybuilders themselves. It's because of their character as people that's causing their industry to die. It died in 2014, got resurrected, 2019, and now it's on the verge of collapsing again. Guys, wake up. That's a sign that the people that are in that community, in that world, they're devourers. They're people that are going to plummet in industry and not make it grow. Because you don't see that instance. You don't ever hear of this with any of the other divisions. You don't hear of men's bodybuilding being on the verge of dying down. And there's a lot of narcissists. There's a lot of narcissists in all fitness categories, but it seems to be the highest amongst the female bodybuilding niche in particular, which is so interesting because that's the one that's the least liked by the general public. So
Yeah.
But
yeah, George would be correcting you women's bodybuilding. Yeah, so
I mean, FBB is a term because we say female bodybuilding. So it's
yeah,
like
I know.
whatever term you want to use, it's the same.
Yeah.
It's just I can say this: once you've been close to the women enough, been on several dates, not a lot, you count them on one hand the amount.
I mean, it's better than a lot of dudes out there. It's better than a lot of dudes out there. I'm telling you, it's a lot better.
I know, and I can say, having seen the deeper, I'm not in it nearly as much as Keith, because Keith is in the world. He's married to Tina, so he's married to a female bodybuilder. Like they're in the world. But me, as an artist who has actually gotten very into the world too, I've had dinners with. I've had I probably shouldn't put this out there, but I had Thanksgiving dinner one time with Alina, Jake Wood, and Linda Murray. And being able to hear some of the deeper bigger picture stuff that was going on in the world of bodybuilding, and then hearing from them their level of dissatisfaction with some of the competitors and lack of gratitude of the people who are in it, you're like, bro, this is you can't get mad at someone like Jake or even some of these promoters when
But
they
then he
start.
put it back. Not to cut you off, but he also put it back with the Tampa Pro because I think they cut that out, and then I think him and I think Alina they brought it back in again because George was
Probably because of
posting
the
that.
backlash. Probably because of the backlash they got. Like
Yeah,
Alina and Jake, like they are very very good people. Like Jake, I've always been intimidated by him because he's like a 6'5" like he's super muscular too, like super
yeah,
strong dude. He has a very kind of dry persona when you first meet him, and he can just come across as like doesn't like care about people or doesn't like people. But actually, when I was at that dinner and saw him talking and engaging, you realize this dude has a very generous, caring heart. Like, and Alina will vouch for that. That dude is Alina will, and also girls like Natalia Kovaleva have too. Like, he is a very sensitive, nice human being, and he actually has a pretty good sense of humor too.
right.
But you cannot continue to use a person like that and then see that they're being used and expect them to just be okay with being used all the time. Like, and that's what the nature of a lot of the women in this industry has become. And it's no secret, a lot of them dislike each other. When they start talking about it, you saw Marilyn the other day when she started to bring it up. Like,
She was
man,
going in.
she's told
Yeah.
me a lot of stuff about some of the other girls that she can't stand, and it's pretty
But
universal.
they act like they're a sisterhood. That's the thing. Like if you say something bad to one, all of them have an issue with you. That type of thing.
I mean, that it's kind of like, well, it's because they're all part of that same world, and then they're looking at any
Yeah.
man, especially if you're a man that's not a bodybuilder, they're gonna look at you as you're an outsider, so don't speak in on this. It's like, don't speak in on the family. Like, this is a family argument. Like, but no, deep down, there's no sisterhood amongst them. There's no sisterhood. They do not stick up and care for each other like that because they're all about the fame and attention or money that they can get right now in their own way.
Sherry Priyami, she was saying like, they so close and all that stuff back behind stage and all that stuff. I was watching it on Friday when Linda and Lena was talking to her and stuff. Yeah, and she was saying
They're
that,
gonna say that, bro. They're gonna always say what's
yeah,
politically
women do
correct.
lie. Yeah, women do lie. I forget.
Yes.
They do lie. They don't always tell the truth.
Let's not say women lie because men lie too. But
Yeah, but you know what I'm trying to say. Like, they women. I know men. We're fucking liars too. But like with women, they'll pretend
don't
something.
ramp it up.
Yeah, yeah, that type of thing, man.
they
That's
they
their
are.
thing.
But yes, in the bodybuilding world, that's another thing too, man. When you're around a lot of them, you see how fake a lot of people are. It is disgusting to me. I can't fake interest in people like that, and they kind of have to because they're all trying to butter up to each other, suck up to each other, trying to, especially when it comes to judges and stuff like that. So then they get higher placings and hookups and all this. But I mean, deep down, like if you see it yourself, you'll be able to tell. You're like, man, they're all smiling and grinning, but they can't stand each other's guts right now. Like you can feel it, man.
Mm.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
I mean,
on their interviews and stuff, they're gonna always be like, "Oh, I just love the competitors. They brought a lot to the table, and they challenged me. I wasn't sure if I was gonna win, but in deep down, they're like, man, I can't fucking stand that bitch. She has no reason to be on the stage with me, coming on the stage with those pencil legs like that." Oh, I've heard a few comments similar to that. Um, but it's usually actually too after the girl gets off stage and she didn't place where she wanted to. Then that's where you
Yeah,
get a
I
little
believe
bit
you.
more of the truth. You get a
Yeah,
little bit more of the truth then, but yeah.
yeah, I believe you. I believe you. I mean, just like look, when I was in the New York Pro, it just kind of like, why am I here? But I don't know. I had like mixed feelings about it though, because it was like my first show, but it just seemed like a wall, like whether it's the men or the women, like because there was this bodybuilder I see on Instagram, and I was looking at him like he was like as if he would have caught my attention, but he just didn't even give me a look. I'm like, damn, like it's not like he can't just like turn around and. I was about to nod if when he was looking at me, if he would have looked at me, but I didn't like approach him because he just looked kind of intimidating, up close and stuff like that. So I was like, let me fall back a bit. But I thought like if he turned around, you noticed that I'm looking, I was gonna be like, hey, how you doing? But it just didn't turn out that way. But I don't know. You don't know what people be thinking and stuff. So
I mean, the standoffish nature is just prevalent in that industry because I've seen it with a
yeah,
lot of the men too. And the thing is, I don't care to go and approach any of the men. Like I'm not trying to go
yeah,
out of my way to draw any of y'all. I will say that the men are the ones more than any that. Well, it's kind of weird. The guys will, if I do booths at bodybuilding shows, of course it's mainly the guys that are going to initiate the interest. They're going to be like, hey, can you draw me, or can you draw my girlfriend, blah blah blah, she's competing. um but then outside of that, it is like either family members or like say smaller girls, talking about bikini the figure type of girls. They're much more approach they approach me more, and it's weird because I feel like it's almost like because they are more favored by regular society, like a bikini or figure girl goes and walks out in public, most people are going to be more, give her more attention and more favorable than say when they see a female bodybuilder. But because of that, it seems like they have more trusting nature towards men, especially me drawing muscle women. So they're definitely much more like, oh, this is cool. Can you draw me? Blah, blah, blah. It's like once you get to the more muscular girls, you start getting to the physique, and then the bodybuilding girls, they are much more like, unless they're retired. I've had several retired female bodybuilders that see the art and they're like, "Oh man, I wish you would have been drawing back when I was competing." Like, so.
yeah. Well, I mean, I think it's time for me to let you go, man. But yeah, like I really appreciate you, giving me your time once again, and sharing, man, because you ain't got
I
to do
appreciate
all this, So
I appreciate the talk, man. I think this is like it's kind of like a little fun therapy, and
yeah,
I feel like these types of conversations, I don't know, for me at least, are like even more fun. It'd be great if we could have like a female bodybuilder that's in with us on these kind of conversations,
yeah,
but most of them they either gonna want to do one-on-one interviews, or they're not gonna really like, I guess, do the whole group discussion. But that would be my next goal one day, is like you, me, maybe George. We have a group discussion, but then also a female bodybuilder in there with us who is active currently, that can talk about, or even some of the ones that have retired. They can chime in on the art of muscle, like the art of the bodybuilders themselves, and then say someone like me who's throwing in, art and all this other type of stuff.
well, last week he had but they was there before. He had Janine Lewinsky. I don't know if I'm pronouncing her name right. And then he had Eunice Kitchen, and he had Beverly. I forgot her last name. And then he had my girl Nicole Strauss last week, and they was just talking about the state in bodybuilding and stuff.
Yeah, and that, I think for that kind of conversation, I wouldn't belong in that conversation because it's all women. It was already a crowded room anyway. I'm talking about more where, like, this whole time we've talked a good part about
with the female art, like the female art.
We've talked about other things as well too. So like to have a girl, like, and this is something that Raheem has said and Keith has said too. We need to know more about you women other than bodybuilding, diet, meal prep. Like, let's hear let's hear you talk about conspiracies or, whatever, like that. Yeah. Recent movies, or you think movies are dumb now, or amazing, all this other type of stuff, AI stuff, that honestly, I think people would like to see a different side of female bodybuilders. It's just finding that one who's brave enough to come on a podcast where she's not going to get paid and just talk with a bunch of dudes online.
Right.
That's just, they're very hard to find right now.
Yeah. What you thought about Muscle Dreams? I don't know, like I didn't see it, but I'm hearing like some couple of reviews, and they said it's pretty good. It's an intense movie. It's not based on a true story, but it's the movie with Jonathan Major. He's a bodybuilder, and he talk about like the dark side of things. Dysmorphia, body dysmorphia, drugs. I don't know, like, I didn't see the movie, but people was explaining it and stuff like that. He was kind of battling these demons of trying to get validation and stuff. He was seeking it, and
like all of them got into bodybuilding, especially the women, with a deep psychological trauma that sparked the growth. Well, I don't want to say all, but a lot of them did. There are just those women who just like, I want to be as strong as possible and to sculpt my physique to the best of its abilities. But there's a lot of other ones who are like, I don't like myself. I don't like my being. And the only way I can get what I think I like is by getting this validation, by being worshipped by crowds of people for how impressive my muscles look, not necessarily how impressive my muscles actually work. So but no, I don't have any interest in watching that movie. I tell you, I'm not really, I don't care that much about the life in the world of bodybuilders unless they find a way to spice it up some way. I've already heard the same stuff over and over and over again. Right now, to me, the most juicy stuff that's in the world of bodybuilding is when you hear a little bit of a gossip where they're talking shit about each other. That's honestly right now the only bit of like, oh, that's kind of interesting when you find out like who's sleeping around with who's like, getting the judges to basically, who's basically paying for the judges to rank them higher. That's way more interesting and juicy, because that's a lot of the industry is run based on that, and it's not a new thing. It's been that way. But that's also stuff that the competitors are not going to talk about because it's going to hurt their rating. They're not going to be able to go and compete and actually be able to show themselves. They'll get blacklisted.
Yeah, that's interesting, but it is what it is. Well, thanks again, man. Really appreciate you. We can always do it again.
All right. Yeah, I appreciate you having me on, Kaale. I'll until next time. Looking forward to doing it again.
No doubt.
Peace.
Peace.